Hey folks, Dennison, co-founder and CEO of Tally here. Just want to check in with you, give you an update on where things are at, and basically also what we're thinking about in the ecosystem in general. So currently we're still going through a lot of legal stuff. We're also watching the ecosystem and the market very well. Obviously, as you can probably tell, it's not a super duper great time for token launches. The market is pretty soft. We've got a war now going on. There's just a lot of things in the macro environment that are making it a little bit tough to be like contemplating a fundraise right now. So we are going through the process of considering that very carefully. We told you that we'd be transparent. It's a really difficult decision, right? We've got this raise coming up in April. We've been walking you through the whole process of it. And, it's a little bit scary, I have to say. You can't time the market very well. And if there's anything you can't do right now, it's the market, right? Because everything's going on. I'm following my Twitter. We're at war with Iran. The economy is doing whatever the economy is supposed to be doing, and we don't understand. AI is popping off, which actually drives me to my second thing, which is AI. So one of the things that we've been seeing is increased interest in using our orchestration protocol for AI agents. And we've really developed this thesis on how agentic economy is going to grow. So a lot of people think that agentic economy is probably going to look something like agents doing everything. And I don't think so, personally. I think that what we are seeing now is the rise of solo founders who can operate entire organizations effectively using agents, right? And that's the OpenClaws of the world. That is just Claude itself, unfortunately OpenClaw and OpenClaw and Claude are now enemies. They were frenemies in the beginning. They were friends. Now they're enemies. There's OpenAI and now there's Anthropic. And Anthropic seems to be coming for OpenClaw with different tool sets. But people are going to probably running their organizations that way. And they're going to be fundraising alongside their agents. And agents might be responsible for fundraising. So we are looking to see how we can adapt our orchestrator protocol. It's already very agent native, but we're thinking about building out skills so that agents can directly launch their own auctions. But actually what I'm more interested in is the tooling that we've already built in the application towards this new AI entrepreneurship. And what I think this looks like is over the next 16 to 24 months, I kind of personally expect most white collar workers to probably lose their jobs. Not everyone agrees with this. Some team members internally, they don't think this is going to happen at all. There's probably going to be more jobs than ever. And I do think that's true. I definitely do think there's going to be more jobs than ever because of the way that work is expanding and opportunity is expanding. But in the meantime, I think that there's going to probably be a period in which there's actually a lot of people do lose their jobs and they go home and they're on severance and they're thinking about what to do next. And I think they're going to found things, right? We see this when we look at 2008 and a lot of people were laid off. People went home and they founded things, right? So I think the next wave of startups is probably about to be created in the next 16, 24 months, maybe a little longer, depending on how long this massive AI shift takes to shake out. And what we want to be ready for, what we're building our tooling for, is to be there to support those new kinds of founders, right? Because these new kinds of founders and these new businesses, they're going to look very different than the businesses of before. You're probably not going to need, but you're probably also not going to be able to raise on an idea anymore. I've been talking with our investors, what they think about our token sale, what they think about the market, what they think about, all these sort of things. And one of the things that's universal is investing and VC is going to look very different in the next few years, right? VCs are not going to be able to keep up with the volume of people building new things because everyone will be able to build new things. A huge difference. Like before, you had to be kind of technical, or you need to find a technical co-founder. You had to try and do things that don't scale. Well, today your prototype is the product, right? So now it's all about go-to-market, and you're going to see an enormous amount of go-to-market it's going to be kind of everything. I mean, you could argue that it already always was, but we're going to see a huge amount of go-to-market be the focus, and lots of people start companies. And they're going to raise a very different amount of money because historically, maybe, we got out this period of where, you had these pre-seed checks of like tens of millions of dollars. And for a lot of businesses going forward, that's not going to be necessary. And VCs aren't going to support it or be interested. Basically, what you're going to start doing is you're going to start founding companies, and you're going to be raising tens of thousands of dollars, maybe. You're going to raise just enough to get a couple months to test the idea, and then you're going to raise again. Right. So what you're going to do is you're going to probably do this like micro raises, and maybe your agentic co-founder is going to be a big part of this, but you're going to raise, mostly just to scale your inference, right? Because today, you're going to be able to just build so much. So we're really looking at that, super excited about that. We should have the orchestrator out very soon. We'll have a skill for that so your agents can natively use it. We're also getting really excited about X402 payments. You start to see a lot of teams building their API to support X402 payments, which is huge. That's super exciting. You know, one of the things my founder and I almost built before we built this, my co-founder and I, that we almost built before this was something called Hey API, which is basically a service to make like building APIs easier. And X402 feels like Hey API all over, right? It's just like you can charge by the request at the request point. And I think that's going to be just hugely valuable and hugely interesting. So, you know, I think that this really offers an enormous opportunity for what we're building and how we're building what we're doing. Peace.